people can
Okay.
watch it.
All right, fair enough. I suggested to John that he try using his phone by doing this. I don't know if that got across. But here we go. So it's now 7:12, and this is the smallest meeting ever of the Pedestrian Advisory Committee. And it's May 14th, 2025. And I think that's probably John again. Let's see if this works.
Okay.
John,
Can you hear us?
his mic is turned off. I'm going to turn it on.
I don't think that should make a difference.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yes,
we
well,
can
we could
hear
hear you
you.
before. Can you hear
Yes.
us? You can hear us?
I can hear you guys now.
All right.
Yay!
I don't know what that was
Something
about.
happened. I think, David, as soon as you started recording, something happened on my end. I don't know
All
what.
right, well, we are recording again now, so we're
And you
off
can
to the
still hear us.
races.
Well, now I'm on my phone, so.
Okay,
Okay.
well,
Thank
that
you.
works.
Thank you. All right.
All right.
I'm glad you showed up. Again, hi, I am Pam Van Hine, the acting chair for tonight, because our acting chair is not able to have access to computers and fancy technology. And I welcome our guest member, John Armstrong, and a lot of people could not come. We will do as much of the meeting as we can, and people can study the results when we get the recording. And hopefully, there's a lot of important things to talk about, so having the recording will be important. Okay, welcome. So the first item on the agenda is promoting PAC membership. The first item on that is selecting a PAC vice chair. As you know, poor Eric Goodman has been serving as acting chair now for a couple of years at least,
Right.
and he would really like to have a real backup, which I am not. So anyone who is seriously interested, including you, John, we really could use your help. And unfortunately, some of the people that we'd also like to consider doing it aren't here, like Eric Malpelli and our newest member, Ember. You have not heard from Ember, right, David?
No.
Okay.
No.
So we will continue to work on that, and we'll see what happens. So another aspect of promoting PAC membership is a brochure, which we talked about in the last meeting. And David has prepared one in collaboration with a number of people, and it will be distributed tomorrow at Bike to Work Day. And David, talk about it.
Take it away. So John, if you go to the chat of this meeting and scroll up a bit, there's two things to share. One is the flyer. It's a little bitty thumbnail. If you click on it, it enlarges. And it's just a way of drawing attention to the PAC. And it's to be distributed at Bike to Work Day tomorrow. The underlying theme being that anybody riding a bicycle who wants to have better conditions on the streets could make common cause with people who walk. And it helps everybody when everybody goes more slowly. And there's an email address to use, which does not go directly to me. And there's a new short URL for the PAC webpage down at the bottom of the text page. HTTPS arlingtonva. Oops, it's arlingtonva.us.pac. Dang it. I am an idiot. Or maybe that's it. Maybe, oh, shoot.
Well, I thought what you put in the chat worked.
Yeah, but that includes the US. The one on the flyer does not. Dang it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think US probably needs to be in there.
Oh,
I think because I rejoined later, I don't see the chats from earlier. Can you email me out the brochure?
Let me post it again. I did this in such a fury.
We lost all of the chat when you rebooted.
We lost the chat. Okay, I still have it because anyway. Doggone it. Oh well. I'm going to hear about that. You can bet. Okay, I'm going to repost it in the new chat and see if you can see that.
Okay.
And then while we're doing that, I'm going to see if it works without the VA.
I would think it would be needed.
I do too.
There's a lot of Arlingtons in the US.
Yeah, I screwed up. Doggone it. That was a big effort. Well, I will do it again. I will fix that, but it's too late now for tomorrow. Doggone it.
Are you picking them up from Mary to Mary?
No, I delivered them to Mary today.
Oh.
And she's distributing them to the.
You may want to send an email that the URL's not quite right.
Yeah, I will do that.
Quickly. Yeah. And then we'll fix it next time.
How embarrassing.
Well, it's a great effort.
Well, the email works. The email does work. There's an email on there that goes to info@walkarlington.com. And so if anybody writes an email, so the whole idea is to get a few interested people. You know, I printed 500 flyers, and if we get 5, that'd be a great turnout.
Yes, it would.
New people to come to meetings and think about joining the committee and see what great fun it is. And, you know, to have meaningful interactions with staff and the manager and talk about policy and budget, all the things we do. It's a good group, it's a good undertaking, and we just don't have enough exposure to enough other and new bodies to really create some momentum. So I'm sorry I screwed up. That was
well.
There are other channels. Like, does the county, like, through their communications team, have you talked to them, David, about?
Yes, and yes, John, and it's an ongoing discussion. I talked with people today. There's you all probably know my colleague Brian Shelton, and he's a planner, and he's been asked to modernize the web page that serves all the transportation projects, and the current web page has a bunch of different aspects. It has things for engagement and things for sharing project plans, and it needs a revamping. And in that, there will be a place to promote participation on this committee, the PAC, the TAC, other special purpose committees like the Arlington's Transportation Future, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's in the works, but it's not going to be immediate.
Is he looking for suggestions on how to improve it? Because I'm sure we could give him suggestions.
Oh, he might very well be. He might be.
And one of the things we might want to consider, you know, there's got to be, I'm sure there's a calendar of sort of outreach channels. Like,
there is.
What comes to mind is like Clarendon Day, or, you know, the Blues Festival over on the Pike, where the county and different groups have tents and little, you know, we might want to consider trying to, you know, hop onto one of those that the county's already going to be at, or where we can just go and just maybe try to recruit people at some of these larger events that are.
Yes. And there's you know what, I don't understand why this is, but it's a little bit off task for those people who do the engagement. But you're encouraging me to ask about that. So why is it that, or maybe it should just be the case that we ask our engagement people to help us do more engagement by getting more sort of regular attendees at these committees. They're called the CAPE team. So civic something, something, something. And that's where Nate Graham is, and Aaron Potter, and Claudia Pores, Katie O'Brien. So it's an ongoing discussion. We're looking for some breakthrough. So
I mean, one easy thing might be if we can get an understanding of where, like I'm thinking of like car-free diet and other programs. Like I'll go to an event and they'll have a booth there.
Yes.
You know, maybe we could just find out where different groups that are similar to ours, like Walk Arlington, Bike Arlington, if they're going to have a presence somewhere, we could
Yes.
just go and just stand in the
And
booth,
about
Yeah.
you know.
Well,
and just sort of like,
you're right, and that is the group that Mary DeLisle works with. They're going through a reorganization right now, so it's a good time to even bring this up. It's for a long time it's been called Arlington County Commuter Services, ACCS, and they manage bike share. They are the public side of Bike Arlington, the public side of Walk Arlington, all the walking maps and the events and Bike to Work Day and all that. Whereas the group I'm with also has some things that are called Bike Arlington and Walk Arlington, but those are capital projects that we build stuff with. But there's an overlap, and in the public's eye, there's a big overlap, and nobody's quite sure who does what. And that is a discussion we're having in-house about how can we clarify these lines and make it a little more transparent to the public who does what. But that's an obvious, and I want to underscore a good first place is, can you help us, promote these kinds of community engagement that are long-lasting sort of committee memberships, not just showing up at an elementary school on a Wednesday night. Not that that's not valuable, but we all believe that these committees that have a long view and a panoramic view of the county have a real value, and I want to promote that. So those are good ideas.
And one suggestion would be, could we possibly do it at the upcoming county fair?
Don't see why not. It's a good idea. And the Walk Arlington, Bike Arlington people clearly have a presence there.
As does commuter services, yeah.
Yeah. Well, they are commuter services. See, that's
Right.
a
But
little bit of a.
But they have two different areas where they promote things.
Yeah, and they have a commercial aspect as well. I mean, they sell transit
Yep.
passes, and it's a very good relationship. Arlington County Commuter Services, they're probably going to change their name because they're about more than just commuting now. They're clear about that. And they run the bike share program. They run the scooter program. They're putting bike and scooter parking corrals in the street. They manage a lot of site plan things for bike parking and da-da-da-da. So they don't want to be just called commuter services anymore. It's a strategic. We heard from Eric Balliet a few months ago about that strategic reorganization they're going through. So I don't know about it on a day-to-day basis, but it's the obvious place to start. And well, the obvious place to start is fixing my typo. And we'll quickly
They'll
pass
never want
over
to do
that.
things for you again.
Pardon?
They'll never want to do things again if you can't even get a URL. No. Okay, are we ready to move on? And thank you, John, for your comments. Okay, next on the agenda is, if you recall, when we met with the county manager, which was a very useful meeting, one of his suggestions is that we send him new technologies, background information on them. He would appreciate getting that because he says he can't be aware of everything, but he likes hearing from the relevant committees and commissions on new things that they think are good. And so one of the potential topics is the Intelligent Speed Assistance, ISA. And this was a webinar on May 7th, how technology can stop super speeders. And as you know, there are lots of speeding cars and lots of in the DMV area, and lots of drivers who have hundreds of speeding tickets, and not much has been done about them. So this is a tool in the box to help them. And so far, the only state that has passed legislation to set up this program is Virginia, which is pretty cool. So anyway, this was a webinar. The sponsors were Families for Safe Streets, America Walks, Vision Zero Network, Institute for Safer Trucking, Advocates for Highway and Auto Safety. Very interesting. I will send out the URL. I had a hard time finding it, but I have it. The speakers were mainly from that meeting. The moderator was, yeah, can you close the door, please? Kitty Cat came in. The moderator was Patty Every, who's with Families for Safe Streets on the executive committee. Tom DeVito, who's the national director of FFSS, had introductory comments. And we are familiar with Families for Safe Streets, both the Northern Virginia and Arlington chapters and Alexandria chapters are quite active in our area. So it's a good group. So
Pam, do you have a link for the recording of that webinar?
Let me see if I can put it in the chat.
We could put it right into the chat.
Yeah. Copy, chat. Come on. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't usually use chat during meetings. All right, type a message. All right, I can't seem to type a message.
Was it in an email that you sent me? Maybe I could copy and paste.
I could send it to you by email.
Why don't you do that? And then you can keep talking while I do the.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. We'll call David. Much easier. Okay. What? Oh. That was weird. It did not like putting David Patton as somebody to send something to. So I had to. Did you get it?
No, not yet.
Okay. Anyway, to continue talking about it.
Yeah.
So the main speakers were actually Patrick Hope, who, as you know, is a legislature in Virginia from Arlington and does very, very important stuff. And this has been an important topic for him. And he pushed this legislation through. He had a co-sponsor. It was supported by lots and lots of people. It passed, the governor passed it. It will go into effect next year, setting up a program to do that. And people are already working on it. Some of those people were among the speakers. There was a Sergeant Kemp from Montgomery County Police who was working on doing this in Maryland, has not been successful yet. Eric Richardson, New York City program, they're working on things. They have not been able to pass legislation. There was a very interesting speaker, Tasha Hairston Springs, with a MAD, Mindfully Aware Driver's Methods Solutions. She's from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. She is a trucker who had a history of speeding and distracted driving until she had a serious crash. She's been advocating specifically for distracted driving, but she also strongly supports stopping these speeders. As we all know, main point, speed kills, period. So it's an interesting combination. There are different technologies for how ISAs work, and I do not understand them all, and I can't explain them all. Basically, the system, and through software, must be able to identify what the speed limit is in a specific area and notice when it changes and adapt it to it. And then there's the actual technology of the device itself that will prevent drivers from going X miles per hour above that speed limit. Important, one of the questions that was raised is, okay, is there a way to increase the speed momentarily when you need to pass somebody or something. And yes, there's a button you can push. So that's good. They don't slam on the brakes. They just gradually slow the driver down. And it does not allow the higher speeds. So they are safe. In a lot of ways, it's similar to drunk driving prevention. It costs about the same, and a lot of the ethical issues are the same. So there's many different uses for it potentially. The initial use certainly in our area is focused on catching these super speeders who have records, and there's just not currently a way to do anything about them. They'll just keep driving and speeding, and people have so many speeding tickets, and eventually they crash and kill people. David, your hand's up.
I did. I raised my hand. I didn't want to just interrupt. So that's my question. Somebody gets pulled over for speeding and they have 100 speeding tickets. How's that possible? Why are they not arrested? Why are they not pulled off the road and take their license taken away?
Apparently there's not really a good way to deal with it currently, and this would be one way that would help. Because it's actually a device. If they want to continue driving, they will have to install this in their car and follow it. Now, one of the questions was, well, can't they just drive another car? Yeah, that's impossible. They're supposed to install it in every device, but without a device like this, they can say, yeah, I'm not going to speed, but there's no device to handle the speeding, and this would handle it.
All right.
So it's a tool for the police for these super speeders. It's also a tool for judges if people are still speeding. They say, okay, we're going to do this device next. You see if this works. We have to use it. So those are good things. They also talked about using it for government vehicles, your fleet. You can do it on buses, police cars, everything. And that would be, there are benefits to that. It reduces liability. You can't be going too fast and crash. There's better fuel efficiency, and it's a good model for their community. It increases safety for everyone. Always the big issue, of course. So it's they also, besides doing repeat offenders, they talked about it might be a good thing for young drivers who tend to speed too fast and are not aware that they're doing that. And for judges, again, for these repeat offenders, the judge can say, we're going to do this now. And if you want to keep driving, you have to use it. Otherwise, you can't drive at all. There are privacy concerns. I found a link to a legal article about what some of the privacy concerns are. And allegedly, the answer is driving is a privilege, not a right. So you should follow the law. Concerns about evasion, damaging the device, driving other vehicles, etc. And that advocates should continue to work with local legislatures, police, and other government officials to pass. But we've already passed it in Virginia, which is super. A tiny bit on the legislation. It was co-sponsored by Patrick Hope, adopted April 2nd, 2025. It really went through fast. The Intelligence Speed Assistance Program establishes the Intelligence Speed Assistance Program to be administered by the Commission on the Virginia Alcohol Safety Action Program. Bill authorizes enrollment in such program as an alternative to suspending a person's driver's license. So use a device or you lose your license, which is good upon such person's conviction of certain speed-related offenses. Requires a court to order enrollment in such program for a person convicted of reckless driving and who is found to have been driving in excess of 100 miles per hour, unless the court has otherwise ordered the suspension of such person's driver's license, etc. So it sounds like a very good bill. It has passed here and it will be starting next year.
Right.
And at the back meeting on Monday, they had an update on new technologies being implemented. This was not listed. So I don't think it's on the county's radar yet.
All right.
So I will start. John, would you like to work on this letter with me? Are you there, John? Can you still hear us?
I'm here. I'm just on mute, so you don't hear the road noise. I don't know how much help I'll be, but I can.
Right.
I guess.
Well, I'm not going to think about this until I get back, and then it's not urgent, but
Because this
something
is our
to,
way of communicating with the manager about
yeah,
things that we have
right,
detected. Yeah.
right. And I will send out the memo that I put together, and that'll give you some more information and links. And I found the Dishley Law blog on implications of Virginia law was very interesting and raised a lot of the issues. So the webinar was put on by Families for Safety Street and other groups, and these are people who are super strong advocates for safety for pedestrians and cyclists over anything else. So there's a certain slant to what they say. But this is, I think they're right here. If it's done right. And they also talk about the need for education. You have to educate the drivers, educate the police, educate the judges, educate everybody. But it's not, I think it sounds like a pretty good program. Not that I can answer any questions, but do you have any questions? Did you get the email with my link?
I did. I posted it.
Oh, good. Thank you.
It's in the chat.
Yeah.
As a YouTube.
Worth watching probably at a higher speed. So that is that. Next item was the projects open for comments. There was a really good hybrid meeting on update on the Long Beach project. It was, and you of course were involved with that, right, David?
Yes, it was about the DC side,
Right.
which, excuse me, I'm not involved with in any kind of a detailed way. It's very, very complicated. It's going to take several years to build. Yeah, I attended. I didn't have
Yeah,
anything to do with
yeah.
it other than the
I thought it
peanut
was,
gallery.
I hadn't planned on attending because it was focused on DC, but I thought it was really worthwhile.
Yeah,
Because it talked about a lot of the program in general and a lot of stuff that's going to be on our side as well.
right.
And kind of time schedules for everything. So there is no, the recording's up. There doesn't seem to be any formal engagement beyond that, but they welcome comments being sent to them anytime. So I will mention that. The other is the open house infrastructure projects on May 20th. This is North Arlington, Lorcum Lane, Nellie Custis Military Road. That's pretty far away from you too, John, right?
Not too far. I don't walk over there, but
Yeah. Do you drive over there?
yep.
Yeah. Anyway, if you had any spare time, it would be worth attending. Most of our members are way south of that because we tend to be in more walkable areas, and that is a fairly unwalkable area. I'm sure it would be interesting, but no. All right. Now, of greater importance, the Ped Bridge over the eastbound Langston Boulevard. There are multiple issues with this. This is the connection between the streets, sidewalks, whatever, east of Langston Boulevard, eastbound, and Gateway Park. And
Right.
there is an existing pedestrian bridge, which is functional. It's not ADA compliant, and it is going to be coming down with the construction of 1 Roslyn, which is in the works. When we have had meetings with DPR about Gateway Park, they made it quite clear that that bridge is coming down and pretty much cannot be replaced. But we're all familiar with trying to cross Langston Boulevard there, and it's horrible. You always feel like vehicles are coming at you, but whether it's Lynn Street, Langston, or Fort Myer, the traffic is awful, and it does not feel safe. At the second SPRC for One Roslyn, which Eric attended, this was an item of discussion. I have not looked at the video, and probably we should look at the video, apparently. It was quite discussed at the meeting. There was a pro camp for having some kind of passageway over, and the people who said that can't be done, and how can we make just crossing the street safer? And my sense is that making the street crossing safer is going to be the way they have to go, that they really can't build a ADA compliant passageway. Part of it is the length of the ramps that you need to make it ADA compliant. And you're going up fairly high because you're going over Langston Boulevard, which accommodates trucks and things. So it's a pretty significant height. Apparently one of the suggestions was doing a barn stance, which possibly at Fort Myer, that would be interesting. I love barn stands. I don't know how well it will work there, but I'm not sure they have any better suggestions than trying that. There's just so much traffic there, and certainly for me and for anyone who lives south of Langston, and you're trying to go to the park, and we're all going to want to go to the park when it's new, you're going to want to be able to cross the street there.
Right.
You take the metro or whatever you want to cross, and it has to be safe. So that is something we will continue to monitor, and if I get time, I will watch the video for the discussion.
So Pam, I know you weren't at that SPRC meeting, but do you know if VDOT was at that SPRC meeting? Because Langston's a state highway.
I doubt it. I'll look at the information. I doubt it.
They did wasn't there a walkthrough recently where they?
Yes, and Elwin was part of that. So
Right.
we need to coordinate with Elwin. I don't think I've ever been at an SPRC meeting, even if it involved VDOT roads, where VDOT was actually there.
Okay.
That seems to be a barrier.
Hmm.
The SPRCs are internal Arlington discussions, as far as I know. And that's been your experience too, right, John?
Yeah, I don't recall.
Yeah.
One way or the other, but I don't remember.
And there have been several recently on South Glebe Road, and we talk about the problems with VDOT, but there's no VDOT people there, the ones that I've been to. The other part of this is we want to do a walking meeting this summer, and we want to do it for Gateway Park. And if you have any thoughts on when we should, well, part of it, it has to be a day when the key staff can be there and are willing to be there. And David, do you have any idea yet when that might be?
Well, I just think we should
Or
set
even
a date.
who?
I think we should just pick a date and encourage people to come, because it's impossible otherwise if you have 20, 30 people, find.
Well, you definitely want Elwin. Is there
Right.
any other staff that have been involved with it? It'd be good to have the park
DPR people.
Yeah.
I've forgotten that fellow's name who came to meet with the PAC a few months ago. I have
I've
it,
got
but
it.
I've forgotten his name.
I'll look it up.
But I think we should choose a date sort of soon, and then the consideration would be if we did it in August, then people are on vacation and it's too hot. If you do it in July, maybe that's a sweet spot. If you do it in September, it might be too late. So I think we should just pick a
Well, it's
date.
really it's too late to do it in June, right?
I think so. That's only.
It's just too soon.
Maybe not. I mean, if it's just a walking meeting.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe not. We could. Okay. What's our June date for our regular meeting?
I don't have a calendar on me. Sorry.
I can get one.
Looks like June 11th, I think.
June 11th.
That sounds about right. Well, can you see if Elwin and the DPR, I have to find the DPR person's name. I'll look it up. And
I have it.
And Tenley really wanted to come.
Kenley Peterson said she could come in June. She could not come
Okay.
sooner than that. And
Yeah.
we didn't talk about later than that. But
Yeah,
June
okay.
seemed to work for her.
Okay.
Planning Commission person.
Okay. Well, what you will go ahead and
Let's say June. Let's just throw it out there, see what happens.
and if nobody can come, I hope there's better attendance than we have tonight.
Yeah, let me just.
Well, we can open it up. Try to others to join. Anyone interested in the project?
Yeah, it could be the bike people,
Yeah.
it could be parks people, it could be, it doesn't have to be
Right.
just the PAC.
Yeah. Although you don't want a huge number.
No.
You know, more than about 20, you really can't hold an outside meeting at all. And if we can get Mary DeLau to come, she's got the great speaker.
Yeah. All right.
We definitely want to invite the PAC, but not have a joint meeting.
Right.
Okay. Well,
All right. I will start rolling on June 11th. All right.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So now we're ready for the my PowerPoint.
Okay. I'm up.
You're up? Oh,
I'm driving your slides.
you're driving my slides.
So I need to take control of the screen. I'm going to open your slides up first. And
Thank you for doing this.
sure. And I'm going to set it to slideshow. Oops, that was too fast, David. I just need to manipulate my screen a little bit. Okay, I'm going to share my screen and then share Pam's slides.
Yay! Make them big.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you. Perfect.
Yep.
All right. All right. I am, as you know, the PAC representative for the Master Transportation Plan update. And I'm also now the primary representative from the PAC for the Comprehensive Plan update. And I'm going to talk very briefly about both of these. So the agenda for the MTP update, we've been working for months on a draft vision statement and goals, and the staff have been working with the advisory group. There have been community meetings, open houses, and trying to smash everything together, and they have their own ideas on this. So we'll see how this works out. They have made a lot of good changes. There are still things that we would think are missing, and there's things that other people on the advisory committee would think are missing. And I'll warn you that the slides that are coming up after this slide are not completely accurate. You notice my final point here. They can be further refined as the process continues. Well, they already made some edits before it's going to the Transportation Commission and County Board, and it's going to them in July. And then basically we get a break and things will start up in earnest again in September, and we will be actually getting into more policy and detailed items. All right, so yep, they are better than they initially were. I mean, they have listened to us. They've made a lot of changes. We would say that they could still make some more changes. But I think part of the problems with what everybody wrote, including the PAC, including me, is too long. And they were trying to keep these short and snappy. So they abbreviated a lot of thoughts in this. All right, next slide. So, all right, the draft vision statement. So this is they put in one new word, which is a very important word. So it's people of all ages, backgrounds, and abilities can move safely, comfortably, and seamlessly in Arlington. Everyone can rely on a variety of high quality, sustainable, transparent applications, etc. So that was a good addition. All right, next slide. Next slide. We know what these are. This one, they made no changes. This is equitable and inclusive. Create a welcoming, affordable, and accessible transportation system for people of all ages, backgrounds, and abilities while working to eliminate historical disparities in transportation policy and investment. Yeah, that's fine. No problem. Next.
Hey, did the
What?
bold work? Why are
I
some,
can't hear you. You're
why are
fading.
some
What?
words-
We can't.
I can't
your
hear you
word.
both. John?
why some words are bolded?
Oh, these were more. These were their changes at the time when they were presented to the advisory group last month. But since then, they've made more changes. So yeah, no, they're not deliberately bolded.
Okay, thank you.
No.
Just the
Yeah.
later
Good question.
editions.
Right. And so that next slide, please. Okay, livable. Really don't like that title. We wanted healthy, and apparently there are issues with using healthy, that it has some implications that are offensive to people.
Does
Like
it
you're
have anything to do
implying
with
that.
Robert Kennedy?
No. I don't think so.
Okay.
No. No. Although looking at a lot of the county documents, they talk about healthy, so I'm sorry. This one, let's see, they eliminated maintains and substitute seats. So it's now create a transportation system that provides enjoyable spaces and improves quality of life, affordability, economic vitality, physical and mental well-being, and sense of community.
Pam,
What?
do you feel there are other people on the advisory group that share your perspective on these wording changes? I mean, did you feel
Some,
like you were a lone voice for the things
well,
that?
I actually could not attend this meeting.
Oh,
I had another engagement. Eric Mappelli did, and I sent a memo to Kristen afterwards with some comments and suggestions, and she basically said, "Too late."
hmm.
But that's neither here nor there. And I guess one of the important points, it is a fluid document. It can be changed,
Yeah.
and ultimately, I'm not sure how important it is, but enjoyable spaces. Okay. All right. Next. This one bothers me, and we'll have to figure out how to think about this. This had been connected, which I love. And one of the main attributes of all the goals and vision statement is it should apply to all modes of transportation. And this is more transit focused, I think, which is fine. But it's like, what does it mean to have reliable sidewalks or
Hmm.
reliable bike lanes? You know, how do you apply it from those?
Hmm.
Reliable transit service, yes, of course, very important. We had it more was having the connected topic, which was the original staff one, and focusing more. Reliable would be under that. Of course, it has to be reliable, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I think it was the transit person really pushed for changing it to reliable, and she's very good. And I think she is the person who is from Montgomery County and has actually done this before with Montgomery County. So she knows how all this stuff should work. Anyway, I'm not sure it matters, but I misconnected. The next one. Safe. This, they made no changes. So prioritize a safe and comfortable travel experience for all people and eliminate transportation-related deaths and serious injuries. One of the phrases that we put in a few places that is nowhere is the most vulnerable, because we are the most vulnerable, and it's basically they just say all people, and that's a change as opposed to people. but we would like more specificity on that. And probably the DAC and the Commission on Aging and other groups would like more as well. Next, sustainable. Okay, this has gone through so many changes, and I predict it will go through more changes because Joan McIntyre, who is the representative for C2E2 for this, has been pushing very hard to make it more specific, and she will keep pushing. So we have developed a transportation system that moves more people with less traffic. Great. Otherwise, would have liked that in the vision statement. Then the minimizes overall environmental impacts is gone. It now says supports a cleaner and greener environment. And then the rest is the same, and advances climate protection, adaptation, and resilience. That definitely needs to be stronger. All right, next one, which is our last one. David, next slide.
I just did.
Oh, I'm sorry. Brain fart. This was not changed. Clearly prioritize and communicate competing demands within the transportation network and responsibly manage public resources to deliver and maintain an exceptional transportation system. They did a lot of condensing and word changing to get to this point, and I think they did a good job. I mean, ours was longer, more specific on things, but it was too wordy. So I think this is probably okay. All right. And what do I have after that?
Next step.
Yes, we are going to, so we're, the staff are going to be getting approval from the Planning Commission and the Transportation Commission and the board in the next couple of months. They're supposed to go in July. And then in fall, we start the real work on policies and strategies. And hopefully we'll still be getting in the nitty gritty and we'll be doing more important work. And a lot of it is going to be challenging, balancing the needs for bikes and pedestrians and transit and cars and all this limited space. So wish us
Pam,
luck. What?
when you meet with staff as the advisory group, are you also meeting with the consultant team or just staff?
Some of the consultants are there. I mean, it's all virtual.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So Chris Ladd is the chair, and he's wonderful.
Right.
And the advisory group representatives are great. It's all people like me who care deeply about this and trying to get it right and aren't afraid to say what they think. I'd say that the consultants are there as needed, and when some issues come up, they speak. But any questions, comments on this?
No, just thanks again for doing this.
I may regret it. All right, next and then next.
Next.
Yeah.
And next. Okay.
All right. Part of Libby Garvey's final push was the Arlington 2050 initiative, advanced through, and one of the ways that they're advancing it is through the updated comprehensive plan. Did either of you go to her massive dinner meeting at the Met Park more than a year ago?
No, I saw some of the video of it, but I was not there.
John, did you go?
I did not.
Okay. It was interesting. A lot of muckety-muck people there. And some of the presentations were great and this was before the fall election, but a lot of talk about changes in demographic trends, going back to work, et cetera, and other implications. So one of the first parts and major parts for guiding our path is updating the comprehensive plan. Next slide.
Okay.
What? Okay. And I'll briefly cover what is the comprehensive plan, what will the update include, what is the PAC's role, and how can you help? All right. Oh, next slide. This is the comprehensive slide plan, sorry. We have, I think there's 11 different kind of elements to it, including the master transportation plan, which is huge. Historic affairs, etc. There's a lot of environmental things like stormwater protection, the Chesapeake Agreement, etc. So it pretty much covers everything that the county is doing for our safety and comfort. And next slide. All right, so the comprehensive plan update has 2 phases, and we're starting with phase 1, and I think we are meeting in June, possibly as an LRPC meeting, and with the add-on of the advisory group members. I have not heard more about any official actions yet, but coming up soon. The first part is it's revising the introductory chapter to the comprehensive plan and developing a scope for revising the GLUP element. And it's going to be spring and summer. It hasn't started yet, so basically almost summer, with review in the fall. I think this part's going to be somewhat easy. Phase 2 is going to be a lot harder when we actually revise the general land use plan element. And John, you are probably somewhat familiar with GLUP because you've been on a lot of SPRCs and it comes up all the time. And it's all about land use.
Yep.
Yep. Very important. Again, that's starting in the winter, going through 2026. Eric Goodman and I are the official advisory group members. It would be good to have a backup because we're both really busy and having other issues going on. And it's something that all of us will want to follow. It's just very, very important. I think there's one more slide after this. Let's see.
Okay.
Yes, so what is the GLUP? It's the primary policy guide for land use in the county. It's the primary policy guide for future development in the county. Establishes overall character, extent, and location of various land uses. It balances residential, shopping, office, and mixed-use development. Focused development around metro stations, areas, and encourages construction of a variety of housing types. But David, I think this also impacts streets and sidewalks, right?
I should think so. I don't know much about the GLUB.
I don't either. We will learn.
Yeah.
It definitely wouldn't be sidewalks. I don't know. I mean, it's part of the space.
Well,
Certainly a
I
lot of
think,
it's covered in MTP, but
yeah, a huge portion of the county is a huge portion of the county's area is transportation facilities, streets
correct.
and roads and sidewalks. So,
Right.
I mean, I just don't know the GLUB. Does it include things like standard widths for sidewalks in commercial districts, for example? Or is that area plans?
It's definitely in area plans and sector plans. I would think some of it must be here as well. Because I was thinking about Melwood, which
Yeah,
is not part of any sector plans. So
right.
the only thing that applies was the GLUP, and I think the developers were basing their sidewalk dimensions on whatever was in the GLUP.
Do you know when the GLUP was last comprehensively rewritten?
No, because I haven't looked at it yet. If one goes back to the page, there's one of the comprehensive plan pages, lists them all, and it might have the date. It's not on my slides,
Oh, okay.
but apparently it's been a while.
Yeah.
And it's going to require serious thought and so many changes. It's like the bicycle element. When they got around to doing the bicycle element,
Right.
there were so many new things with biking and biking technology, and that had to be included. and scooters and stuff. So, if you can go back one slide, please.
Go back one. Yep.
Yep. I don't think there's any forward. um, there is an open survey, and I will send out the link to people. It's a very odd open-ended survey. It's like, what do you think about whatever? And maybe that's because the GLUP is just this huge, broad thing. And I think, I'm trying to remember when it's due, but I will send that out to Packers, include it in the minutes. And again, as we have been doing with the MTP update, I will present what happens at our meetings to the PAC, and as we need to issue our own guidance and documents, I will ask for your support on these things and comments. So it hasn't started yet. It's starting next month, and it's going to be a long process. So any questions, John?
No, I'm just taking a look up online.
Yeah, I will. Okay, where are we? Yeah. One of the many issues that is not clear to me is, so the GLUP maps pretty much cover the whole county, and they're online, and you can look at them. So sector plans, including the Crystal City and Pentagon City, have their own kind of plan use in there, and which one rules and how do people decide which one to follow? Because they're not going to be identical, but that's a whole other issue. But we will learn about the GLUP, and I think that's an important thing to learn about. All right, that was it.
All right. So I'm going to stop sharing now.
Oh yes, please.
Okay.
Yes.
These names kill me. So in DC, I think there's there's also something called the FLUM, which is the future land use map. So I wonder.
Oh, as opposed to the current land use map.
Right, and so it looks way out and says this parcel or this part of the city will be institutional uses forever or single family homes forever, and then I think the small area plans are nested under those larger designations.
Yeah.
But I'm have no familiarity with Arlington's GLUP.
Right. And it's going to be, once people figure out that this is going on, there's going to be a lot of controversy and pushback.
Well, you bet, because it's going to involve the commercial
Housing.
interests. It's going to involve housing.
Yep.
It's going to involve the developer community, all of that.
Yep. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting ride. Speaking of ride, Mary DeLau was not able to come today because tomorrow is Bike to Work Day, and she wants everybody to participate, even if you don't bike. And I usually have done that. I would do it, except I'm not there. I'm here. And she asks people to register for the pit stops if you haven't done that. John, do you usually participate at all?
I do not.
Free T-shirts, free donuts. Last year
More
I was
bananas than you can shake a stick at.
Oh my God. Well, we get those in our neighborhood anyway from Amazon. It's a lovely event, very important. And yeah, you don't have to literally be a major cyclist to do this. I mean, I haven't ridden a bike in years and I still participate. And I have a number of bike to work shirts, and
I'm going to
look
quickly and see what the weather is, the latest on the weather tomorrow.
Oh.
Because it looks like it might be wet very early, but then it's going to be fine at 8 o'clock in the morning. So that shouldn't be too much of a downer. So we used to joke that it was always the third rainy Friday in May. But
that is a pretty safe bet.
But it's not. It's on a Thursday this year, so.
Yeah, they changed it to Thursday because a lot of people, certainly during COVID, post-COVID, were taking
Yeah,
Friday off
take Fridays
or
off.
working remotely. So they thought they get better turnout. And their goal is to have 2,025 registrants for the year. And John, do you live near Lion Village? The shopping center for Lion Village?
Yeah.
That's one of the sites, if you want to stop by. Also, the headquarters of the National Guard, which I think is a new one.
Hmm.
Anyway, that is
On
all.
on George Mason? I mean, on George Mason there?
I didn't look at the address.
Ah.
It's if you go to the Bike Arlington website, there's an easy link to Bike to Work, and then they've got all kinds of information there, including where all the sites are and how to register. And the only other thing I had was PAC Business reviewing the minutes, except we don't have a quorum,
I have a
definitely.
quorum.
So we could close this off early.
All right. I had one other thing to introduce that Jim Feaster sent. I don't think he sent it to everyone, but I can. It's an article from the Wall Street Journal written by a couple of senior citizens who live in San Francisco, talking
Yeah, he sent it
about.
to me.
You sent it. Okay, so I guess everybody got it.
Well, no, I don't think it sent it to me and you probably.
All right. Well, then I will send that around. It's a interesting perspective, not a surprise, but it starts to bridge that gap between pedestrians at large and seniors, and in the face of threats from motor vehicles mostly. So I'll send it around. It's a good read.
As we all get older, we are all becoming more vulnerable seniors and getting more disabilities. It's definitely something to work on together. Thank you.
right.
John, anything you'd like to add? Want to talk for half an hour?
Yeah, but one idea would be, I'm looking at the GLUP, and there's Anthony Fusarelli, Jennifer Smith, and Matthew Ladd. I don't know if it's an opportunity to have like a 15-minute guest speaker to give us an overview of what the heck GLUP is.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
But hold on a second.
And clarify what kind of pedestrian issues are addressed in it. Not a major presentation.
Right. I bet they're doing
just
100 of those.
If somebody would be willing to just give us a lay of the land.
Yeah.
Kind of what you said, Pam, about the hierarchy and like how these things inform each other, or what takes precedence, like what's above what in terms of GLUP, sector plans, like that.
Right.
And then I was just jotting down some notes for ideas for recruitment.
Yes.
And things like farmers markets.
You're fading.
I'm going to send something out to our PTA. I'm sorry, I don't know what's going on with my connection. Hold on. Oh, hold on. I have a visitor.
Hi.
But
Hi.
hold on. Just in terms of recruitment, like maybe David, I don't know if you have access to kind of the commuter services and other things like that will have a tent or a booth at a neighborhood festival. But if we could see a list, we could sort of just try to join in. I think, Pam, your idea is great. We should definitely do that at the county fair, but that's at the end of the summer.
Right. But you're right, John, and your connection right now is not very good. But yes, there's an opportunity for the group I'm in, which is planning and capital projects, to work more closely with the community services people who are actually going through a transition right now. So it's a good time to say, can we consider this as an ongoing need and build in some opportunities for people to connect? And it's going to require some updated flyer material or brochures. They've expressed a willingness in that before, but what you're suggesting is to have bodies there from the committee, the current committee, to advocate. That's a great idea.
Thank you.
And Pam, if you want help with the letter, I'm happy to help next week.
Yep. I'm not going to be back for more than a week.
Okay. Well, whenever you're back.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sean. And thank you so much for coming and staying despite the limited attendance and technology issues. We really appreciate it.
So-
Always great to have you.
Yeah.
Yeah, great to see you. Thanks for all your hard work.
Yeah. So as soon as we
You're-
wrap
you're
this
the-
up, I'm gonna send my my mea culpa and my typo correction.
Oh, yes.
I'm gonna do
yes.
that right now before I
Right.
let any more time pass.
Okay. And I am calling this meeting to
8:18.
8:18. I'm adjourning the meeting at 8:18. Thank you.
Okay.
I can never remember the right word.
Well, thank you both very much. You're troopers.
Thank you too.
Okay. Good night,
Thank
both.
you all.
I hope this is not a trend.
Yeah, I do too. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
I will, no rush. Yeah, I will appreciate having the videos pretty soon.
Sure. I
And hopefully that's
submitted.
good.
I submit it, and the people I don't even know turned into a YouTube link. So that's been working out very well.
Right. Thank you. Take care.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.